We are coming to you from Citizens Bank Ballpark in Philadelphia, where tonight Comcast Sportsnet presents White Sox baseball. It's Todd Frazier, Melky Cabrera, Jose Abreu, and our Sox as they get set to butt heads with Pete McCannon's Philadelphia Phillies. Hi, everybody, and welcome. With Steve Stone, I'm Ken Harrelson as we get set to bring you the finale of this brief two-game set. If you missed the opener last night, Sox were trailing 7-3, ninth inning. Came back with 3 runs, left a tying run on when the game was over, and we lost at 7-6, but it was a real good comeback effort. But tonight, a special guy on that bump.
Chris Sale going to the mound, looking for his 17th win of the year, and last time out against Kansas City, he was pretty good. Major League leading 6th complete game against the Royals, and the best part about it for the Sox is they took the lead, they lost the lead, and then they came from behind and won it for Chris Sale, who decided not to leave it in the hands of the bullpen. He was going to do it himself, and it worked out pretty well for him. So we take a look at the starters tonight. Jared Eichhoff going to the mound for Philadelphia. He beat us the last time that he pitched against us at U.S. Cellular Field. Last time out was not a good outing for him. That came against Pittsburgh. And Chris Sale, you see the complete game, only 3 earned runs, 10 strikeouts, another double-figure strikeout game, and he's among the league leaders in strikeouts. So stay with us because there's going to be hijinks. There's going to be home runs. There's going to be a lot going on tonight in Philadelphia. And baseball's coming up.
White Sox baseball on CSN Chicago is brought to you in part by Toyota. Discover more in a Toyota. Visit buyatoyota.com or your local Toyota dealer today. Let's go places. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. Through it all. Audi. Truth in engineering. And by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV.
Final game of an abbreviated 2-game series as the Sox look for a split with a victory tonight, and they're sending their best to the mound, and Chris Sale looking for his 17th win. So in the Cy Young Award debate, Chris is certainly in the conversation. He's tied for 4th in wins with 16. The ERA, with a good outing, it goes below 3 tonight. He's 2nd in the league. Strikeouts, he's tied for 4th at 215. Opponent's batting average, he is 4th at 221. In complete games, we talked about that. He is the best. So Chris Sale these days has really enjoyed finishing what he started. And you wouldn't expect tonight to be any exception to that. It's a warm, it's a humid night, a great night to pitch as the Phillies take the field. let's take a look at our Kia starting lineup, and how Robin is going to put them out there with Adam Eaton leading off in right field. Then it's Tim Anderson, Jose Abreu, Melky Cabrera over the last 19. He's been red hot from both sides of the plate. Todd Frazier, Alex Avila with the nod behind the plate, Tyler Saladino at second, then Leary Garcia and Chris Sale, who's hitting 200. That's good. Our Honda City defensive setup, and now Pete McCannon puts them out behind Jared Eichhoff, Tyler Goodell, Roman Quinn, and Aaron Altair in the outfield, with Franco, Galvis, Hernandez, and Joseph in the infield. Cameron Rupp gets a nod behind the plate, and our Lexus Pursuing Perfection starting pitcher is Jared Eichhoff. You look at the record, but that's a product of his team rather than what he's done. He's a sinker baller. He's got a pretty good slider. They've tried to take away his curve, and when his team gets him 3 or more runs, they've done that 12 times, and the Phillies are 11-1. So 3 runs is a magic number with Eichhoff on the mound. The umpires for the game this evening: Doug Eddings behind the plate, Adam Hammery at first base, Corey Blazers at second, and the crew chief, Jeff Nelson, is at third. So in very much a hitter's ballpark, the Sox certainly want to take advantage of that. And when you take a look at the milestones for a lot of these hitters, Abreu wants to get to 100 runs batted in. He's within 4. Frazier wants to get to 100. He's within 6. Melky Cabrera needs 4 points to hit an even 300. And there's a lot of guys with personal statistics that they want to accomplish. So Adam Eaton to lead it off. He's ready. Throwing the ball around the infield. We're ready, and I'm ready to turn it over to my play-by-play partner, Ken Harrelson.
All right, Stoney, thank you. And once again, good afternoon or good evening, everyone. And welcome to White Sox Baseball right here on Comcast Sportsnet. And before we show you our picks to click, you at home select yours. As the big 6'4", 247-pound right-hander's first pitch taken for a strike by Adam Eaton. Eaton comes in at 281, 13 homers, 57 driven in. That ball hit high and deep. He's back. He looks up right in front of the fence, and you can put it on the board. Yes. Number 14, and it is quickly 1-0 good guys.
Adam Eaton ties what he did last year. A towering fly ball. We told you very cozy dimensions here in Philadelphia. If you throw fly balls here, you're going to give up a lot of home runs. And Adam Eaton on our Ford home run replay starts off the Sox in very good shape.
That's the 27th home run that Eichhoff has thrown.
Yeah, this is a tough park.
And that is high in the center field. That's a can of corn for Quinn. And of course, with that home run by Eaton, Alex Nelius with another generous donation to White Sox charities in loving memory of Ursula.
Jose trying to get to 30 and 100 in the power numbers. That's a 5th leadoff home run for Adam Eaton this year, and the 9th of his career.
And there is a looper going foul. Abreu hitting an even 325 long ones, 96 knocked in, 1 for 3 last night.
Adams' 14th home run ties his all-time personal best, achieved last year when he was 2nd on the ball club in home runs.
That ball ripped, but foul. And here at Citizens Bank, 329 down the left field line, 330 down the right field line. Shorten the gaps, 374 out there and left center. 370 in right center and 401 dead away center. And he calls him out. So 2 down.
Do I get to change my pick to click? No, huh?
No. There we go. Okay. Fans went with Abreu. Crew went with Saladino. Steve's going with Melky. And Mike Mazza, Kenny Wiz, Tom Eichsett, Pete Catazon, Laura Arenas, Mary Weiss, Charles Johnson. We're going to go with Adam Eaton.
Can I get a 1B?
You want an entry, huh?
Yeah.
Well, you know
link
what?
them together.
Kian Golashahi, our producer, Joe Blue, our associate producer. We'll have to have a little meeting for those games in Cleveland. What we might do is we might take our picks and just give you the rest of the field.
Well, that's not so bad. I still wouldn't win, but it's not so bad. I like the field bet, though. Guaranteed for you to lose in some other occupations.
I played it all one afternoon out there in Vegas one time.
How'd it work out for me?
Not too good. I started playing 9 and I just would not get off of it. Breaking ball. In fact, Alvin Dark, one of the great baseball minds in history, great manager. San Francisco, Oakland, Kansas City, Cleveland. He and I both were playing 9, and we would just, he's hard-headed as I was. He gets him, but the home run by Eaton, and after a half inning of play, it's our guys won and their guys coming to bat.
Philadelphia starting lineup. It's Hernandez, Quinn, and Franco. They're at the top. Then Joseph, Rupp, and Galvez in the middle with Altair, Goodell, and Eichhoff rounding it out. The Honda City defensive setup, and now Robin's going to put him out there behind Chris Sale. Melky, Leary, and Adam in the outfield with Frazier, Anderson, Saladino, and Abreu in the infield. Alex Avila gets a nod behind the plate. And our Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher is Chris Sale, who's going after win number 17. Trying to keep that ERA below 3. And more strikeouts and innings pitched. That's been a trademark of Chris since he became a starting pitcher in the major leagues.
So here is Cesar Hernandez. There are his numbers, 289, 6, and 36. Phillies come in hitting 238 as a team. Our guys are hitting 257 as a team. First pitch strike.
Hernandez has had a very good year, and after benching him for a few games, he's really become a good defensive second baseman. But Pete McCannon tried to get across his point that he didn't like some of the things he was doing out there. He's got all kinds of skills, and now he's showing it to management and the front office.
Oh, there's a bullet right back to the middle. Well, it's a young offensive team. It's a very aggressive offensive team, but they're going to have to do something to tone it down. They got 6 guys with 100 or more strikeouts.
Well, one of the guys that they're losing is Ryan Howard. That's a guy that will strike out a whole lot. But you're right. If you're going to strike out as many times as their lineup does, you better hit the ball, especially in this ballpark. You better hit it out of the park consistently.
Well, in this ballpark, if that's going to kick foul. Both teams, our park at home and this park here, 2 of the better home run hitting ballparks in all of baseball. They've only got 150. We got 154.
Yep.
But you can't have 6 guys striking out 100 or more times unless they're hitting 30 to 40 home runs each.
There's a guy who used to do that a lot, Ryan Howard. He has meant a lot to the community here. But this is the last year for him as a player in Philadelphia. Still think he's got something left. He was supposed to be playing just about every one of the home games, but he hurt his knee. And that's why Joseph is playing first base. Quinn had a pretty good night last night. Scored a couple of runs, stole a base, had 2 hits, and a couple of runs driven in.
Just 23 years old. Talking with Steve Henderson, hitting coach, before the game. He was a good, solid hitter. He said, I said, these guys are really aggressive. He said, oh yeah, they are that. He said, but we got to find a little bit of another route, so to speak. He gone. Now we're at 95. Well, the thing is, here's the catch-22. And you know how partial I am to Latins. They were my favorite teammates, especially Cubans.
They played 6 years in winter ball. That usually you'll have a lot of Latin teammates.
They go up playing a different type of baseball than guys here in the United States do. They go down there, they have fun, they swing the bat, they're aggressive. You don't walk your way off those islands. You hit your way off those islands. And when they get over here, all of a sudden everybody's always trying to back them off a little bit, temper their swings, temper their thought process. And to me, it's just butt backwards because of the fact you cannot take their aggressiveness away from them. You got to find a way to get through to them, so they'll do it themselves.
Well, it's best if you can get selectively aggressive. You can still be aggressive. You get a first ball fastball, that's something to jump on. But with 2 strikes, one of the things we don't see, a lot of shortening up on the bat, shortening up on your swing. Just put the ball in play. We see how effective that is when you put the pressure on the other team's defense. They will make some mistakes, but you can defend against strikeouts. The guy just walks back. There's no ball in play.
Well, we've seen it with our club. So many strikeouts on breaking balls down in the dirt, check swing strikeouts. I think we probably had as many check swing strikeouts this year as any team I've ever been associated with.
You had a real interesting point when we talked about the weight of the bats. And you said that you used a lighter bat against guys that didn't throw as hard. And why was that?
Because they threw more breaking pitches and you checked it up more.
So 40 ounces would be hard to check up.
So a heck of a lot harder it is to check up 40 than it is 35 or 33. That's one reason I'm wearing wrist braces. You check those things up enough. Uh-oh. That is the 14th guy that Chris has hit this year.
I would think the overwhelming majority of those guys would be on sliders to a right-hand hitter. And that's what that was, and got him in the shin.
Well, that's the majority of hit batsmen from a left-hander to a right-handed hitter.
Yep. It's just going to be the way it is.
Or a curveball. Yeah, but you hit it on the head, framing it as far as a lot of these kids don't have 2-strike approaches. They've never been taught that. They don't have them, and you got to. It's gotten to the point now. Steve and I were talking about this, and you've got to have every pitch should be a situational pitch. Every at bat should be a situational at bat. I don't care what the story is. I don't care if there's nobody on base. I don't care if there's a man on first and 2 out, man on first and nobody out, man on second, nobody out. Every at bat should be a situational at bat. What that does do, it gets you off of chasing bad breaking balls in the dirt, because you're not thinking mechanics. If you're thinking about your swing and you see that breaking ball coming up there, good chance you're going to have a check swing strikeout. As here is Joseph. Tommy hitting a .260, 20 homers, but he's only knocked in 42.
Pretty strong guy. And that's one of the reasons why he's around. Was a former catcher. He had a lot of concussions, so they eventually moved him to first base.
That ball is hammered right at him. No, over his head. He just misjudged it. So the game is tied at 1 on the double by Tommy Joseph.
Hardest play to make for any outfielder is a line drive right at you. And Melky just got frozen. This is a rocket. He started in, then by the time he started to retreat, he really had no chance as Joseph hits the daylights out of it. Now got 43 driven in and runners in scoring position.
Well, it looks to me, just through the first 4 hitters here is Cameron Rupp, the catcher, that their hitting coach probably has told them, look, we're not going to do anything with that slider of his. Let's just beat him on his fastball. And if that is indeed what he told them right.
Chris deviates from the pattern, throwing a first pitch straight change, but threw it in the dirt.
And it's going to be a 3-1 Philly lead on the double by Rupp.
RBIs number 50 and 51 by Cameron Rupp. Not an auspicious start of the ball game for Chris Sale as Rupp takes it right down the line. No chance at all for Todd Frazier. And the Phillies offense has come to life.
So here's Galvis. Freddie. 1 for 4 last night, hitting at .239, but he has 20 homers and 67 driven in.
He's a candidate for the Gold Glove at shortstop. He's only made 7 errors this year, and he's playing in his 149th game. So he's got good range, very good hands, and a better than average arm. Galvis is a switch hitter, much better from the left side. 17 of his 20 home runs have come as a left-hand hitter, and he's 39 points better as a lefty than a righty.
That fastball at 94.
We'd like to welcome all of our viewers watching on Jessup Cablevision in Jessup, Iowa.
Just did get a piece of it.
Got a little piece of Alex Avila also on its way by.
One run on 1 hit for us, 3 runs on 3 hits for them here in the bottom of the first if you're just tuning in. Outfield for the most part straight up. Spaced just about equidistant. And the 2-2. He gone. Two down.
That one was a straight change, and although Alex Avila wanted it away, this one drifted inside, and Galvis still swung well over the top of it.
Althier, 4 homers, 21 knocked in. That ball hit high and deep into center field, but the Uri is called off by Adam. They put a crooked number up there, and after one they lead it 3-1.
ChicagoCom presented by The Great Escape. Pools, patio furniture, hot tubs, and more. Escape your everyday. Shop The Great Escape.
We already have some work to do. We trail it by 2. So it'll be Frazier, Vila, and Saladino. Tied at 221, but 37 homers and 94 driven in.
Eichhoff is not overpowering with that fastball, but he does have pretty good command of it normally. Unfortunately, that one went way over Joe McEwing's head and stayed in the field of play, did not go into the seats. About as long a toss as we've seen of the bat.
Yeah, if you total all his distance up this year, it'd be right up there among the league leaders. One. And it goes Todd's way. Couple of finals. Houston beat Oakland 6-5 out at the Coliseum. And Colorado at home against the Cardinals. Rockies handed it to them 11-1. Big game in Chavez Ravine. The Dodgers host the Giants. One out. 3 straight strikeouts for Eichhoff.
Good curveball for Eichhoff. And Bob McClure wants him to throw more sliders than curves. He's got both of them. And he thinks he's got better command with the slider. But he showed a very good curve in that Frazier at bat. All the strikeouts have been swinging.
Well, about 95% of the time with right-handed pitching, one of them is going to suffer in that ball game if they have both of them. I think the curve or the slider.
Yeah, I think it's very difficult to have both pitches at the same time because they're delivered in a vastly different fashion.
And it's funny how left-handers can do it. They can have a good curveball and a good slider much more often than right-handers.
I just think if you've got a really good curveball, I think it's a tougher pitch to hit consistently than a slider.
There's no question. Yeah. No question.
And so
about it.
In taking that curveball away from him, I think Bob McClure probably wanted him to get command and then he could work the curveball back in.
Yeah, you're not going to. Only the great hitters are going to handle a curveball when a pitcher gets it anywhere near where he wants it. And they're not going to handle it every time either.
Nope.
That old saying, don't look for something you can't handle. There's a strike to Avila, hitting a .226, 6 homers, 10 RBIs. Yeah, you get a guy out there with a good curveball. And if he's got it going, he can tell you it's coming and you still can't do anything with it. I used to have a bet with some of the pitchers. And I did it mainly for me, you know, and for the money. But yeah, when you're making $6,000 a year, that was a minimum salary, and you're spending 20, you got to supplement your income.
You're certainly looking for something to do.
Exactly. So I used to bet them $20, and I would give them 10 shots, and I would stand in the batting cage. This is before batting practice, and I would straddle a plate, face on to the pitcher, and I'd give him 10 shots. And if he hit me, he won the 20. If he didn't, I won the 20.
Would you have done that with Nolan Ryan?
No. No, I would not have. And if I told you yes, I'd be lying.
Nolan would have done it for nothing.
I know it would.
He just wanted to throw at you.
But the only guy that ever did it, that won my $20, was on the 10th pitch of that particular sequence there. And he did it with a curveball. That was the only time. I must have done it 7 or 8 times. I won every one of them except that one. And that was the first time that the guy said, well, I can't hit him with a fastball. I want to try the curve. And he did, and he got me.
They're probably not doing a whole lot of that anymore.
No, but it helped me as a hitter, too.
Philadelphia, one of the few teams that don't shift in the outfield on Alex Avila. He's got good power to left center field, and they play him pretty much straight up.
Yeah, he's got no problem going out of here to left center. That's right at the bottom. So the first walk issued by Eichhoff. And here's Saladino.
Eichhoff originally drafted by the Cubs in the 46th round in 2010, but elected not to sign.
Tell you something, $20 back in early '60s was a lot of money. There is strike one. Mets taking a 2-0 lead over the Braves. That's at Citi Field. Bottom of the second. Toronto, Seattle tied at 1. Bottom of the 11th. Felix. King Felix went 7 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts.
Diaz came on, and you know his overwhelming stuff, and there were shadows around home plate, and he tried to sneak an inside fastball by Jose Bautista, and that's why it's 1-1.
Jacks it up, takes a strike right at the bottom of the zone, and he didn't like the call. And neither did the dugout.
We'll take a look. Toyota pitch tracks. And
Rupp didn't think it was a strike.
nope, he tried to bring it back up.
That was a good strike with a curveball. And 2 down. 4 strikeouts now.
Eichhoff came over from Texas. He was drafted by them 15th round of 2011 after not signing with the Cubs, and then traded to Philadelphia with Matt Harrison, Jorge Alfaro, who is their catcher of the future, and Jake Thompson, who we saw last night, for Cole Hamels, Jake Diekman, and cash considerations last year at the trading deadline. That might be a pretty good trade. They weren't going to win with Hamels anyway, so they got a whole lot of the future in that Hamels trade.
Well, Doyle Brunson, king of poker, said it. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. Runner at first, 2 down, 1-1 to count to Leury, who was 1 for 3 last night with a run scored.
The outfield playing fairly shallow, especially Quinn in center field. We saw Quinn last night in left field. We saw Herrera in center field, but Odubel not facing Chris Sale tonight. You can understand that straight left-hand hitter. Sale's tough.
Softly hit. Good feed. And that'll retire the side. We go to the bottom of the second, trailing by 2.
Later in the game, brought to you by Miller Lite.
Three-1 bad guys. Sox will finish this game, board our charter, and head on over to Cleveland. Get there in the wee hours. Off day tomorrow. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the final 3 road games of what has been a very disappointing season.
There is no doubt that there were high hopes in spring training.
And even higher after the first 35 ball games. 40 ball games. Start off 23-10. Play well even after that for a while. And then the bullpen went, and poof. So did everything else. Here's Goodell. Popped up right side. Tomorrow night at 10:30, join legendary Bear Brian Urlacher, one of the greatest, one of my favorites, I know that, for another edition of his brand new show, The Hard Count. Here are his thoughts on Monday night's loss and what the Bears have to do to win Sunday night in Dallas. The Hard Count, featuring Brian Urlacher, presented by Restore, tomorrow at 10:30 on CSN Chicago. What a player.
Boy, was he.
Boy, you talking about TW? He had it.
He helped to have pretty good speed as a middle linebacker to drop back into pass coverage also.
Let me tell you something. He'd knock your head off. That's high into short left center. I know one thing. I remember one of my all-time favorite teams to watch in any sport were the '85 Bears. They were fun to watch.
Well, they were fun to watch because, number one, you couldn't score on them very often. And it was fun to watch the defense put up lots of points.
It was fun to watch. What I liked was the intensity. They had the intensity. They had that TW. They didn't want to beat you. They wanted to hurt you.
Hernandez led things off with a base hit right back up the middle.
Boy, he hurt it too.
And after hitting Franco, things deteriorated from there. A couple of doubles and 3 runs.
Yeah, that was a rocket right back at Chris. Here you go. 1, 2, 3 inning, and we're into the third, trailing 3-1.
With a free open house on Saturday, September 24th from 11 to 2 in Lisle. Kids can participate in a skills competition, watch the mascot home run derby, take a photo with the World Series trophy, and more.
Top of the third inning in a 3-1 Philadelphia lead. Chris Sale will lead it off. He is 1 for 5 in his at-bats this year. Took that pitch nicely. Little soft comebacker.
It looked pretty bright in the first inning as Adam Eaton led it off with his 5th leadoff home run of the year. With that first White Sox run, he clicked lending and donated $100 to the Pat Tillman Foundation, supporting military veterans and their families.
So he has 14 of them now with 58 knocked in. Now field bunch just a bit slightly to the left.
We'll have to see if it holds up for Eichhoff. It's that we talked about before this game started. If they get him 3 or more runs, he's 11-1 this year. He got the 3 early in this. Now we'll see if he can make it hold up.
Well, he's out of Evansville, Indiana. That's off the end of the bat in the center field, and that's going to be a Kansas City special. Little duck snort. He'll take it. So Mike Mazza, Kenny Wiz, Tom Eichstadt, Pete Catazone, Laura Reynolds, Mary Weiss, Charles Johnson, Mark Black. They're picked to click, 2 for 2. And here's Tim, went out to center field. He got some pretty good praise today also from talking with John McLaren and Larry Bowa for the game. Larry said, Hawk, I really like your shortstop. Larry, of course, broke a record.
I was going to say, you should know a few things about shortstop.
Yes, he does. Great baseball guy. He had that will to win. Ball gets away. Pretty good throw.
I would think that would be E3.
Yeah, he just whiffed on it.
Looked like he was trying to put the tag on before he had the baseball. Yeah, very much E3.
Yeah, but Larry really likes Tim Anderson. I said, well, you should, Larry. He can play.
Field out to Adam Hammery, and he says nope.
Larry, for those of you youngsters out there who never saw him play, terrific shortstop. But he was not a pretty shortstop. He was like very robotic out there.
He had a really unusual throw to first. Did not have a huge arm, but it was good enough for a long time. So it served him well. Well, Larry was a major league manager a couple of different times. He's over 50 years in professional baseball is Larry Bowa.
One and two. There he is.
Phillies Hall of Fame, Larry Bowa. 70-81 as a Philadelphia Philly.
Larry's one of those guys. He never thought you were out of a ball game until that 27th out. That ball's hit sharply. Meanwhile, right at him. 2 down. And here's Abreu. Called him out on a check swing.
He's got a chance now to get a little closer to the 100 mark. And he's 4 runs batted in.
That pitch inside.
Franco on the line, or pretty close to it at third base. And the outfield playing him straight away. They usually play him as an opposite field hitter with the American League teams.
Right at Franco. So we get a man to third. Can't do anything with it. And it's still 3-1 Philadelphia.
It's the home record of Rick Porcello. He loves Fenway Park. 13-1 ERA, 288, made 15 starts, covering 100 innings, and opponents have hit just 236. He will be in the running for the Cy Young Award. It's been an enchanted year for Rick Porcello.
You go 13-1 at Fenway Park. You're pitching your butt off.
He's always had a great sinker, and if you're throwing ground balls, you don't worry about the green monster at Fenway.
You don't have to. You got to take that sinker. Remember Dennis Eckersley back in '78 was 20-8 that year. That's before he went obviously to the bullpen to become a Hall of Fame reliever. Quinn can't get it. He struck out his first trip. 3-3-1 for them. 1-2-0 for us.
And he hit him with a changeup. Holds onto it a little too long, and he hits him off the left foot. Yeah, with pretty good speed. Leads it off on base.
Franco was hit by a pitch. A little harder than that with a slider. And scored. Breaking ball strike.
Franco last year not only hit 280 but hit 14 home runs in 80 games. And that served notice that he was going to be here to stay. This hasn't been a great year for him.
This looks the second, goes to first.
Alex Avila out to tell Chris the set of signs they're going to use with Quinn at second base.
There's Tommy Joseph. He had an RBI double and scored. It was a rocket. Fooled Melky. It was hit so hard he just didn't read it. Just over his head. Toronto did not score in the top of the 12th at Seattle. Still tied at 1. Change up, low and away.
2 great wild card races and 3 teams an identical tie in the National League. The Mets, the Cardinals, and San Francisco all at 80 and 71.
There he goes. He gone. Beautiful peg right there by Alex. 2 out.
Quinn thought he had a good jump, but the throw is perfect. Waiting for him to arrive, and Jeff Nelson on the call.
Jeff Nelson last night did something that he did not miss a pitch last night. Not one pitch that you could definitively say he missed. Well, what a game he had.
I was going to say, you can usually tell if a hitter will look back on occasion or somebody will say something from the dugout, and nobody said anything. And Pete Buchanan wants to have another look if
they want
to see if he tagged it. Ball beat him, and they'll slow it way down. Pete Buchanan challenges the call. Tough to tell from this angle. Ball beats him, but you can't really tell if the tag is on him or not. Now we'll slow it down.
I'm afraid he's safe.
I think he got the left hand in before Ty got the tag on him. That was a good angle.
Well, in real time, it sort of looked like a bit of a phantom tag.
Used to be able to do that a lot. The quick tag and then away from the bag.
In our time zone, he's out.
Yep.
Ball beat runner out.
That's it.
And the reason they did it that way, it was for both sides. I mean, just wasn't one way. But the reason they did it because they didn't want guys getting spiked and getting hurt.
Most of the guys, when you played, and to a certain extent when I played, they all slid feet first. If you hung around for very long, you got a good chance of getting cut up.
Oh yeah.
Nowadays, almost everybody's sliding head first. You're not going to get cut up.
I had 25 stitches put in my ankle. I put 22 stitches in Woody Hell's ankle, sliding in the second. Canigliaro got me for 25. It was, accidental. I was playing first base, and I just got my foot and my leg in the wrong spot.
And he is indeed safe. So he steals his third base.
Had one last night. Now the infield comes in. Even Tim Anderson with that gun he's got because of the speed of Quinn. So he got him again. That rocket double and his 2-run homer, and it is 5-1.
Looked like Joseph was absolutely waiting for a first pitch changeup because that ball was down. It was most likely out of the strike zone. And Joseph hit a rocket. A Ford home run replay. No, it's a breaking ball. It's a off-speed slider, and he goes down and gets it.
Well, he got him on the fastball last time.
45 driven in and 3 tonight.
You let your thinking make you dangerous, and that's what Joseph did. Got him on the fastball. So that is the 24th home run that Chris has thrown. Two down.
Tommy Joseph was originally a first baseman his first 3 years of high school. Then he switched to a catcher, which is why he got a pretty good signing bonus with the Giants. But a lot of concussions later, he is now a first baseman again.
Freddie Galvis struck out his first trip. Just foul. Another tough road trip for our guys. Start off in Kansas City in a 4-game series, win the first game, and then they run the table the next 3.
31-46 on the road coming into this one.
Yep. Not really. After starting off great on the road.
Well, when you looked ahead in spring training at the schedule, you realize this team had to be good on the road because that's where the first month of the season was played. Ten home games in April, is that what it was?
Oh, he had 16 road games. Sixteen road games, 10 home games. Althea went out deep to right center field. Yeah, we started off the road. 4 in Oakland, 3 in Minnesota, 3 in Tampa Bay. Then went to Toronto for 3 and Baltimore for 4. And then a week later, I had to go to Texas for 3 and New York for 3. That's yank foul. Gary Sanchez has hit his 18th home run.
Pretty remarkable what he's done.
In his 43rd game. First player to ever do that. Full count.
Goodell in the on deck circle if Altair can keep it alive.
He gone. But the 2-run homer by Joseph, and they lead us by 4.
7th through the 29th, bringing ballpark fun to the Hilton Chicago. You can get an autograph or a photo with current players, coaches, and White Sox greats. Your favorite areas are back with an interactive space to play games, win prizes, and shop for team gear. It'll be a weekend of White Sox baseball you won't want to miss.
Melky struck out, called out his first trip. We better do a little hitting. We trail it 5-1 here in the top of the 4th.
Kick off with a pretty good season ERA considering the ballpark that he's in. This is 31st start. Anytime you're in the 3-7s with this as your home park, you're getting it done.
Payoff pitch. Back through the middle into center field. That's a good way to start it.
Everything was away this entire at bat. And finally, Melky went right back up the middle.
Here's Todd. Stuck out swinging at a curveball. Mets leading Atlanta 2-0. Top of the 5th at Citi Field. Kansas City leading Cleveland 2-1, bottom of the 3rd at Progressive Field. Breaking pitch, fouls it down. Yankees shutting out Tampa Bay 7-0. That's in the bottom of the 3rd in St. Pete. Seattle winds up beating Toronto 2-1 and 12. And that's a pie. These wild card scenarios are just what the doctor ordered.
Boy,
very late in the season.
They make things really exciting.
And that's in the center field. Can of corn. And of course, Bud was crucified when he brought it in.
Yeah, there were a lot of purists who said that it's going to ruin the game. It's going to ruin pennant races.
Well, you're always going to have that element.
It didn't really ruin it. In fact, it gave a whole lot of cities a chance to stay really engaged into football season and give you a chance to win the World Series. The St. Louis Cardinals won 83 games, won the World Series. There's a number of other wild card teams that made it pretty tough on other teams.
Well, they took home the trophy. They didn't exactly beat Detroit. Detroit sort of beat themselves in that World Series.
Yeah, the pitchers decided they weren't going to field.
Something.
They went on strike. They couldn't field.
It was almost surreal.
Yeah.
Then it got in their heads and it was all over. But you know, on the other side of that page, if Bud had vetoed the wild card, he'd have been crucified by the other side. So it worked out. You know, one thing, it's made baseball a lot of money.
Well, there's no question. You have some years where the team that wins the division is so far out, nobody else would have any interest if he had no wild card.
Yeah. Alex walked back in the second inning. Only walk issued by Eichhoff. Eichhoff has been given the benefit of about 4 or 5 real close pitches and about 3 or 4 completely out of the zone. Two down. 5 strikeouts now. And here's Tyler. He was a victim of one of those missed calls. Not on the one he struck out on. That was a strike. One strike pitch was definitely low. Tyler, one of the positives of disappointing season. Tim Anderson, one of the positives. Ball hit sharply, and that'll do it. We go to the bottom of the 4th, trailing by 4. Whether looking to purchase or refi, never pay lender fees with eClick Lending. Visit us online at eclicklending.com to lock in your low rate today. eClick Lending. Point, click, and save. Tyler Goodell popped up to Abreu. 5-5-1 for them, 1-3-0 for us. So the 23-year-old now 1 for 2.
Chris tried to throw an off-speed fastball, but it was up. Goodell takes it into right field. So you would think Eichhoff would be bunting.
He popped up to Cabrera, Melky in left field.
Well, you had a pretty good explanation why he has not had a sacrifice this year.
And to count nothing in 2.
If you don't get this bat well out in front of you and square up, see him bring the bat back and drop the head of the bat, you're going to have a real hard time keeping it fair.
Yes, he did. He gone. Five strikeouts now for Chris. Carlos Correa. 20 home runs, 93 RBIs for the Astros. They've won 6-5. Evan Gattis is, boy, Gattis is really a strong man. Wow.
They got him over there as a designated hitter.
Got
that
30
park,
home runs now.
That park is made for him.
Oh, yeah. There are not too many. Let's face it. Not too many pitchers' parks. Kansas City is one. Safeco is one out in Seattle.
San Francisco, the
No, I'm
Dodgers,
talking about-
San Diego.
Talking about the American League.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's San Francisco Park.
Beautiful ballpark, just a tough place to hit home runs.
Magnificent.
Yeah.
Magnificent venue there. Broadcast from. You look out over the bay and wow. Ball in the right field. And gets by him. So he's going to score. Here's the throw to third base. Now he's
Well,
stay at third.
Chris did not back up, and the run didn't score. That looked like an off-speed pitch of one sort or another, and Hernandez with his second hit. It is a 3-base hit. Run driven in is 37th. Ball gets by Todd Frazier, and nobody behind him.
And that's his 10th triple. So the infield in. And Quinn. 6-1 Phillies.
Hernandez is a pretty good player.
Well, that's the first 2 games I've ever seen him. He looks like it.
Yep. Good player.
14 doubles, 10 triples. That is average over 290. Two and 2.
Chris Beck starts to throw in the pen. That got him.
Breaking ball got him.
That's
2
the
breaking
second
balls
time.
and a changeup.
Second time he's been hit tonight. That's the third guy that Chris has hit.
16th on the season.
Both times got him in the left foot.
Well, he should. He just stood there and let it hit him. Didn't want to get hit in the foot or the ankle.
Looking front base percentage. He's looking to try to raise the on base percentage.
Franco was hit by a pitch and then bounced softly back to Chris. Missed the game last night. James Shields went 5 1/3, 7 runs earned. Had a tough time with that breaking ball last evening. Which means he left it open for the fastball, which means he had a tough time with the breaking. I mean the fastball.
This Philly team swung the bat well last night, and they're swinging it very well early in this one.
Yeah, they got a good approach off. And that will double him up. So they come up with one, and it is 6-1 Phillies.
Rays on Thursday, September 29th at 7:10. First 10,000 fans to enter U.S. Cellular Field will receive a White Sox Performance T-shirt.
Top of the 5th inning. Yuri Garcia. J.B. Shuck on deck to hit for Chris. We trail it 6-1. Six, 7-1 for them, 1-3-0 for us. Backoff trying to beat us for the second time this season. Knocks it down, and it's going to be a base hit.
He had him if the first stab would have been successful, but he was able to knock it down. Then when he went to get it with his throwing hand, he couldn't corral it. This part's good, and that part not so good. They give him a base hit on that.
First and 30. Nope. They put it on him. They double him up. So quickly 2 gone.
Heads up play as Leury thought that he could flash by the tag, and it didn't work.
Well, the word on that play is don't let the second baseman tag you.
Stop, start to back up. Maybe he'll follow you, and then there is no double play.
So here's Adam, a homer leading off the ball game, then a single in the third. Chris. Tough outing for Chris, who got to be a little weary. Got to be a little weary.
Yeah, you would think so.
Yeah.
4 innings, 6 runs, 7 hits, no walks, 5 struck out.
That ball's hit hard. But Goodell is there. That's a hang whooping. And we're halfway home, trailing by 5.
Time now for Xfinity high-speed action replay, and it's a night for Tommy Joseph. Line drive rocket over Melky's head, followed up by a 2-run homer. As he reaches down, takes one out of the yard. His 21st. He got 3 driven in on his double, a 2-run homer. And Chris Beck will come on to face the aforementioned Joseph. On for the 22nd time, he's 2-2, ERA up close to 7.
1-1 to count. Got in on him. 1 out.
That's probably one of the differences in Tim Anderson now than the Anderson who came up here. He knew that Joseph couldn't run. And when he came up, he was trying to charge everything. I remember those days where he charged things and tried to catch it one-handed. Now things have really smoothed out. He knows when to wait back. He knows when to come and get the ball. And because he's got a strong arm, he can wait maybe a little longer than some of the shortstops can. And he's really gotten a whole lot better.
Well, you can thank Joe McEwing for that.
Yep.
That's one thing that former players like you and I and McLaren and Larry Boa and our coaching staff and the managers, they will all tell you, with these youngsters today, you got to continually talk to them. You've got to continually remind them to do this, remind them to do that, remind them don't do this. Because a lot of them, when they get here, physically they're ready, mentally they're not.
Many times they just don't have near enough at bats or innings in the minor leagues. They're taken through the system pretty quickly.
Well, when you got 30 teams, you're going to have a lot of talented guys get here very young. In years past, when there were only, is he gone? 2 down. In years past, when there were only 16 teams, 8 in each league, you'd have some clubs. They would go maybe 2, 3, 4 years and never have a youngster called up or bring up.
Well, a lot of times you're talking about the day and age where there was 24 farm teams. Get up through the Dodgers system or the Yankee system.
When I signed, Dodgers wanted to sign me. When I signed, I think they had 36 farm teams, 3 AAA teams.
Yep.
Galvis, a strikeout and a single.
He'll turn around and hit from the left side for the first time.
In fact, that was the reason I signed with Kansas City. The scout talked my mom into signing with Kansas City actually for less money than the Dodgers had offered me, only because Kansas City only had 5 farm teams. Nice inning right there for Chris, but we still trail at 6-1.
fireworks presented by Guaranteed Rate on Saturday, October 1st, as our Sox take on the Twins at 6:10. First 5,000 fans to enter U.S. Cellular Field will receive a rock and roll night cap, compliments of Guaranteed Rate.
First pitch strike to Tim, who's going out to center and grounded very hard to second. And there's the old equalizer. The old curveball.
Cubs used a lot of them and very successfully tonight.
Lykoff's got a nice presence out there on the mound.
Well, look, when you can get a curveball over the plate, he was able to throw 192 right down the middle, and Tim just missed it because he's made the impression that he will throw that curve on any pitch.
Got him. Six strikeouts now. And here's Abreu. Yeah, when a pitcher, if the hitters are paying attention, even when they're not, on deck or in the box, obviously, they're sitting over there, and all of a sudden, if they get in their heads that that guy is going to throw that curveball and he can get it over, boy, I'll tell you, you get your work cut out for you there.
Helps you with everything else you throw.
Conversely, if he can't get it over and you're watching, you can narrow him down in your own mind to a one-pitch pitcher. Then you are dangerous when you step in that box.
There's an example of using the slider also. That was a pretty good one, low and away. So he's got both of them tonight. It's one of the reasons why. Giving up just the leadoff home run to Adam Eaton, and that's been it through 5 1/3.
That's popped up right side. We had a guy that went against a lot of the rules of pitching, so to speak. Alex Fernandez. Boy, when it was below 50 degrees, you could just look at it. He was going to win. It was unbelievable. Which goes against some of the grain, but where it really went against the grain, when the colder it got, the better his curveball was and the better his slider was.
That is unusual.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that was. He was a good one. He and Wilson Alvarez and those guys. That didn't take very long right there. We still trail at 6-1.
is brought to you by American Sail, and it was a tough night. 4 innings, 7 hits, 6 earned runs, didn't walk anybody, hit 3, and fanned 5.
Altier going out deep to right and struck out. Aaron Altier. Bit of a gap out there in right center. Not much, but a gap nonetheless. Broken bat.
That one was a good 4 inches inside, and Altair swung at it with very little chance to keep it fair.
Well, that would be a pitch right there that you love to see Chris Beck throw more of, learn how to work that ball a little bit with a two-seamer inside like you used to.
Yeah, because, well, you look at the location, you realize with that movement, and it was pretty good movement, it cost him a bat. Even if it didn't, he wasn't going to do anything with it.
Oh, no. If he hits it hard, it's going to be foul. I was thinking about Chris. We talked about him the other night. You and I both like him. Got to think he's got a chance to be one of the guys to, you know, be a help to this ball club.
Got a good arm.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's got a good arm. His arm is. There's no question about the physicalness of it. Physicality he's got, but I think he's got to do a couple things. One of them is learn how to pitch inside more, but not for strikes. Is he gone?
Well, there was 4 straight pitches in perfect spots. Altair swung at 3 of them and missed the 3rd time he swung.
Yeah. You're always talking about it. You don't want to throw strikes on the inside corner. You want to throw them in off the plate.
I think that's the most effective way to throw in, and then it protects your outside corner, especially if a guy shows you that he's going to swing at him.
Well, you got to find a way to widen the plate. If you don't, that hitter's going to find a way to narrow it up. Goodell. And of course, when you're going to pitch inside, that means you're going to hit some guys, but you're not trying to. It's just they either didn't get out of the way or they hit themselves a lot of times, especially the way these guys dive today out over the plate. That got him right in the back of the helmet. Now, pitchers don't want to do that.
No, not in this game. Avila wanted it inside, and that got him. Beck is certainly upset, not throwing at him.
No.
And he's going to have to leave. Odubel Herrera is going to take his place at first base.
So here's Eichhoff. Popped up to left and struck out. Herrera last night Had a big evening. 3 for 4, 2-run homer, 3 RBIs. But that's what we were just talking about. If you're going to pitch inside, some guys, they just don't react well.
Sox pen up and going.
There's a strike with a breaking ball. Another breaking ball. I got hit in the head 3 times. And it had a helmet on, and it never hurt. Not at all. I mean, not at all. Now, I don't know if that's an indictment on me.
Well, nowadays they would certainly take you out for concussion protocol.
Well,
justifiably so. They're a little more aware of it these days.
I remember a game in Toronto. Luzinski was at the plate. He got hit in the head just like that. An explosion. Bam. All of a sudden Herm comes running out of the dugout, and Bull looked at him and said, "Get back in that dugout." So he went where he did, and Bull would just walk down to first base. That's in the right field. 2 down.
Hey, Sox fans, you win with Papa John's Pizza all season long. The day after the Sox win, you get 50% off your entire online order of regular menu priced items only at papajohns.com. That's when you use the promo code SOXWIN at participating Papa John's locations.
So here is Cesar Hernandez, 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run scored. Well, if you're a pitcher and you do something like that, then you still can't let that back you off from pitching inside.
No, there's no doubt. If you allow major league hitters to believe that you're only going to throw away from them,
you're going to lose.
Going to be a lot of runs.
Yeah, you're going to lose.
Hernandez is a better hitter from the right side, although he has much more power from the left side. And absolutely a must win for Baltimore. They lead Boston in Baltimore 1-0 heading into the top of the 6th inning.
Two out, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Just tuning in, we scored 1 in the first. Leadoff homer by Adam Eaton. They came back with 3 in a hurry in the bottom of the first. They had a 2 in the third and 1 in the fourth. Mickey Mantle was one of the few exceptions. Most switch hitters, for some reason, have better power from the left side. Not all, but most.
I would say the majority of switch hitters are natural right-hand hitters that turn around, hit from the left side. Could it possibly be that the dominant hand is on top of the bat?
Sure, that's exactly what it is.
And that's why they get more power the other side.
We used to do that, you know, play around in batting practice. I could hit it further left-handed than I could right-handed. There he goes. And there's ball 4.
This entire at bat was spent throwing the ball away from Hernandez.
So here's Quinn. A strikeout, and twice he has been hit by pitches.
He's probably happy to see Chris gone.
Well, I think the longest recorded home run ever was hit by Mickey Mantle. That was off Chuck Stobbs.
560 something.
565. But that was not the hardest Mickey ever hit one. He said the hardest home run he hit over my roommate Bill Fisher in Yankee Stadium. He had a low slider off the facade up there, another couple of feet, and it's all the way out of Yankee Stadium. And it was hit so hard it knocked down a piece off the facade and bounced all the way back to Jerry Lumpy at second base. Mickey said that's the hardest hit ball he ever hit. One and one. Yeah, Eddie Lope had it going out to the mound and told Fish, left-handed, you know, he's a good low ball hitter, so throwing fastballs up and in. Lope gets back to the dugout. First pitch, a low slide.
It didn't work out that well.
No. There's a strike.
Blake Smith continues throwing in the pen.
Well, this trip certainly has been a disappointment. Coming off a nice homestand.
A great series against the Indians. I mean, that was a well-played series, taking 3 of 4 from a very good Cleveland ball club.
Yeah, there was a lot of optimism.
And unfortunately, then Kansas City.
Well, we won the first one there, so we even went up high expectations. We had won 6 out of 9 and 8 out of 13 going into Kansas City.
But you could say that about going into Kansas City just about each and every time.
Full count. 2 on, 2 out. That's been called a pitch, a strike on us all night. All night.
Well, that's going to be it for Chris Beck. Hit batsman, a couple of walks, and so as Blake Smith comes in, we'll step out, be back after these messages. Second for the final family Sunday of the season, presented by Coca-Cola. Tickets are as low as $5 in the upper level and $15 in the lower level. There's also special kid-focused activities throughout the ballpark, plus parking available for only $10. A Hyundai call to the pen, and he's going to take over with the bases loaded. Blake Smith comes on for the 5th time. ERA 6.75. And no margin for error.
And here's Franco. Franco for 2 with a run scored. Last time up, just hit a rocket right to Frazier, and they doubled up Hernandez, who was on third base. So that's out of play right side. Looked like Chris just completely lost his concentration after he hit Goodell. He'd retired all 4 with a couple of strikeouts.
Yep.
Prior to that.
Good speed on the bases for Philadelphia.
Curveball, no. And there is the base hit. Two more score. Then it's 8-1.
I'd have had a shot if Alex able to hold on to it. Would have been a good play. But the first hit of the inning yields 2 runs. Adam thinks he's got a shot.
So here's Tommy Joseph. RBI double in the first, a 2-run homer in the third. He's 2 for 3.
79 runs driven in now for Michael Franco.
We're into the 7th, trailing by 7. Show in Chicagoland on High School Lights. Now that's a half hour of scores, highlights, and fan reaction from around the region. So watch High School Lights Friday night at 11 on CSN and streaming live at csnchicago.com.
Herrera stays in the game to play center field, and that shifts Quinn over to left field.
So here's Todd 0 for 2. Takes first pitch strike. Oh, you got a cookie right there and missed it. So the count 0-2.
Eichhoff has given up 2 hits to Adam Eaton, 1 to Melky Cabrera, 1 to Leury Garcia. That's been it.
Oh yeah, that ball here way back. He looks up. You can put it on the board. Yes. Number 38 for Frazier.
.38 and 95. A Ford home run replay. It's a rolling breaking ball. He missed one earlier in the count. Didn't miss that one.
So here's Alex, a walk and a strikeout. Takes first pitch strike. .38-95. That's it high and deep. Stretch. Stretch. He's back. He jumps. He can't get there. And you can put it on the board. Yes. Back to backs. And it's 8-3.
7th home run. 11th driven in. Third solo home run of the night. That brings up Bob McClure. Ford home run replay. That's a slider that doesn't do much. Hard to get away with too many mistakes with the short porches in left center field and right center field especially. It's 29 home runs now thrown by Jared Eichhoff.
Well, Todd's still got a lot of upside left in him. Just 30 years old. That ball hit hard. Meanwhile, Odubel, 1 out.
It's the 7th time this year that Sox have gone back-to-back.
So here's Leury. He's 1 for 2.
Joely Rodriguez throwing in the pen.
Out and around, rolls over on it, and 2 down.
So Jason Coates coming out to get in at bat.
Bottom of the 3rd, back home. Cubs and Reds are tied at 2. And since the All-Star break, Joey Votto hitting .414 since the All-Star.
He's been a wonderful hitter for quite some time.
He can't choke up anymore than he does.
Nope. Still has power.
And that ball hit hard, but stays in the yard. So we put a pair on the board, 7th inning stretch, trailing now by 5.
Coming schedule, and it's the off day tomorrow, and then a weekend series with the Cleveland Indians in Cleveland, the final road games of the year, and then home to play the Rays. Finish up with the Minnesota Twins. That is a PNC Bank upcoming schedule. Tommy Kahnle comes into the ball game on for the 25th time. ERA at 3.13. Long way to come back, but a very lively park to do it in.
We almost did it last night, trailing 7-3 going to the top of the 9th inning. Scored 3, left the tying run on in second, lost it 7-6. So here's Rupp. Cameron, 2-run double Back in the first inning, he's 1 for 3. Looking for it, got it, and couldn't do anything with it. Oh! 0-2.
Infield back, outfield, straight away and fairly deep.
Sanchez, another home run tonight. 19. That's phenomenal.
Pretty amazing.
Well, it's never been done. It's never been done.
And he showed power in the minor leagues, but not power like this.
3 for 5, 5 RBIs tonight so far.
They got 3 innings to go.
Oh, matched him with 2 fastballs. Spin his bat up.
Rupp's not going to get many infield hits, but he's got one here.
Here's Galvis, Freddie, 1 for 3. One out.
Now Alex goes to the mound. Talk about what signals he's going to use, and Tyler Saladino would like to know what's coming, so he's trotting in.
Takes a strike. Gap in right center. Altier. It's going out deep to right, and twice he has struck out.
Alex Avila has very shiny orange nail polish on. Not that difficult to pick up the signs.
He gone, 2 down.
Reaches back and throws a fastball right by him. 3rd time for Altair. Strikeout.
And here's Herrera making his first plate appearance. 21,703. Their average coming into tonight was 23,581. That's Sanchez, 19 homers. And 38 RBIs in 43 games.
Just an amazing run. It's not like Tampa Bay is a real easy park to hit home runs in either.
Big rip right there.
And the Yankee Stadium for a right-hand hitter is not particularly easy. Left-hand hitters like it, and right-hand hitters who can go to right field really like it.
That old ballpark, the old Yankee Stadium, that was Death Valley out there. Left, center, and center. There's a chopper 2 hopper. All right, well, let's get some more now. We're into the 8th. It's 8-3.
Miller Lite, and here's our Miller moment, and it's really the moments of Jared Eichhoff. Give him 3 solo home runs, and other than that, pitched pretty well. Getting Abreu in the first, a good curveball he showed early, and he used it well. So he is the pitcher of record. And now he's the departed pitcher of record. Joely Rodriguez coming in the game on for the 6th time. He's given up nothing. He was in the Pirate organization. Signed originally as an international free agent in 2009.
Top of the order for us. Eaton, Anderson, and Abreu. Had him 2 for 3, a leadoff homer in the first inning. He also singled in the 3rd. I'll take a moment to thank a dear friend of mine who I love. He's been with me for 27 years. He's not going to be in Cleveland. This will be my last games for the season. And that's the mayor, me and Joe Brewer. Does such a great job and has done a great job for 27 years. On the other side of the page, I don't know how Kristen stands it.
But the cats really like it. They really like it.
Oh, we can't get along without Joe. 2-1 pitch.
.95-96 on the fastballs. That's pretty good.
We saw some good arms from him last night coming out of that.
And I think Pete McCannon is going to change closers. We saw Genmar Gomez last night really struggle, almost giving away the lead in the game. And he was talking about Hector Neris and Adubre Ramos. Both of them have better stuff than Gomez. However, Gomez has 37 saves.
It's hard to beat.
That's a lot of saves for a guy that wasn't supposed to be the closer.
Well, look at Houston Street.
Big sinker.
Yeah.
No, not a big fastball.
No.
But he's been very successful.
Doesn't walk anybody. So strike one. You know what he's going to do, and he still is good. There's a nice base hit. So Mike Mazza and his crew, they're picked to click. Third hit.
Got a fastball to his liking. It was right down the middle, and even at 96, not good enough to get the out. Philly bullpen still working.
Here's Tim. He's 0 for 3. Fly out to center. Hard hit ground ball to second. There's a soft hit ground ball and rack him up. Quickly 2 gone.
This is a good double play combination. Hernandez and Galvis.
How about that one turn last night? That was classic.
Yeah, these guys are pretty good. Not an easy play there, and then it's easy. Galvis got a good strong arm, and he is really sure-handed.
Well, that was one of the prettiest, not one of the most sensational, but one of the prettiest double plays we have seen.
That's when he slid into the hole and then came up firing. You make 7 errors and you're playing 145 games. That's really good.
Yeah, but these maple bats, you better believe it. You better believe it. As hard as these guys are hitting that ball, jumping off that maple.
Yes, it is. That's why more pitchers are getting hit.
You know what's amazing? In all the years that baseball's been out there, Carl Mays.
Carl Mays and Ben Chapman, wasn't it? Ooh, he got hit in the leg.
I forget what year that was, a long time ago.
He got him on the hop, it looked like, and got him right in the ankle. Jose's been hit a lot. Melky with a chance.
It's the 14th time that Rayu's been hit this year.
It doesn't hurt any less if it hits you on a hop or if it hits you straight away.
Well, where it hit him right there, sometimes you'd rather get hit in the ribs or the fanny. Certainly. Got him. And we'll go to the bottom of the 8th.
and it is Anthony Renato. He's on for the 9th time. 1-1 ERA. Well, it's up there.
Well, Jared Eichhoff stays the way it is. Will be 11-14 with a really struggling ball club, which is really good.
Especially with an ERA that's in the 3.7s.
In this park.
This is a very small ballpark.
Andres Blanco. Yeah, what we're talking about, Carl Mays was the guy who threw the pitch that killed Ray Chapman.
Ray Chapman.
That's the only time in all the years that this game's been going on that's happened.
Was that around 1920? Something along those lines?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
1920.
Yeah, that's with all the millions of pitches that's been thrown. And guys have been hit. I've seen, as you have, I've seen pitchers get hit in the head. I've seen them get hit. I'm telling you what, it's amazing that nobody else is. Thank goodness. Not gonna work.
Well, I think you remember a hard-throwing small left-hander by the name of Billy Wagner that had a fastball close to 100 miles an hour. He got hit in Arizona right in the forehead, and it went into the stands over the dugout on a fly.
That's amazing.
And I mean, obviously,
yeah,
shaken up, taken out, but not seriously hurt. And I asked him, how in the world can you possibly go out there again after what happened? He said, because I don't remember it. I don't remember anything about it.
My first year, full year season, my first year was 59, partial season. Then full season was in Florida State League of Sanford. We were playing Tampa, which was a Cincinnati ball club. And they had a big left-hander, hard-throwing left-hander, big red-headed left-hander out there, about 6'5", 6'6". He threw me a fastball up out over the plate, and I Tommy hawked it, and I hit a rocket right back. Hit him right in the head. He went down, gets back up, stayed in the game, threw a couple more pitches to the next hitter. All of a sudden he starts looking around.
Delayed reaction.
Yeah, he starts looking around, looking up, look at the sky. It was a night game. And all of a sudden he walked right off the mound, walked right out the gate, right out of the ballpark. That's high. Tim, so Blanco is retired. So here's Hernandez. 2 for 3, a couple runs scored and 1 knocked in. Ate him up right there. And that's a little bit low.
David Hernandez getting ready to come into this.
And that's a little high. 3-1. And another souvenir. Off day tomorrow. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday against the Tribe.
Tribe that's leading Kansas City in the bottom of the 7th in Cleveland. They lead 3-2.
And that's popped up. Tied. Got to play. 2 down.
The White Sox Back to Class Pass is available now, and for just $25 you can attend all 7 games during the final regular season homestand. Indians jacket, Philadelphia hat, Sox fan next to him.
Quinn takes it, and the count 2-0. Pitching matchups in that Cleveland series Friday. Miguel Gonzalez, who's really been pitching well, against Trevor Bauer. Saturday, Jose Quintana against Cody Anderson, and Sunday, Carlos Rodon against Josh Tomlin. Friday and Saturday, right here over Comcast Sportsnet, and Sunday over WGN. There's the walk. And here comes Franco. Got a rain delay evidently in Minnesota where they're hosting Detroit. As we speak right now, magic number for Cleveland is 6.
I'm sure they're terribly happy about that rain delay.
And that's foul back, and that'll be a souvenir. I tell you, that Jose Ramirez from Cleveland, 3 for 3, hitting at 315. Lindor hitting at 307. Lindor 22, Ramirez 23.
It's pretty amazing, and they both helped carry the ball club early.
So the walk and then the base hit. 2 out, 2 on.
Ramirez has a 3-game suspension that he's appealing. Probably waiting to get a little closer to clinching it to drop his appeal and serve the games out.
Well, the Indians people will tell you that they think Ramirez is their MVP.
It's an unbelievable year for a guy who hit 219 last year.
Yeah.
And he's been over 300 this entire season.
219 last year, but he wore us. He hit the ball hard against us. So here is Tommy Joseph. Corey Kluber worked 6 in the 3rd. 6 hits, 2 runs earned, 9 strikeouts. Stay in the air. It will. Nice play. Nice read. Boy, he reads well out there in right field. Mercy. Went to the 9th. We need a lot. Our Sox head to Cleveland to open up a weekend series with Jason Kipnis out of Northbrook, Mike Napoli, and the first place Indians. It all starts at 6 right here on CSN Chicago.
A new pitcher coming in the game. It is David Hernandez. We saw him last night for an inning. Got a couple of hits, but no runs. He's on for the 66th time. ERA of 3.86, 76 strikeouts, and 67 2/3, and that's good.
Here's Todd. He's 1 for 3. Cranked out his 38th homer. Out of play. .38 homers and 95 knocked in. A little 3-hopper.
Most popular way to follow White Sox baseball is with MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Enjoy live look-ins, highlights, game day, scores, StatCast, live radio broadcast, and more.
So here's Alex. He went back-to-back with Todd back in the 7th for his 7th home run. There's a strike and a count 0-2. Eight, 10-1 for them. 3-7-0 for us.
White Sox
Takes it up. There's a man that hates to lose. Todd Frazier. Not that all players. I don't know a player yet that liked it.
No. If you like it, you're probably not going to get here.
Yeah, some it just hits a little harder than others. That's out of play left side, so 3-2. And there's ball 4. That is just the second walk issued by Philadelphia pitching tonight.
Eichhoff walked Avila in the second inning.
And here's Tyler. He's 0 for 3 last time up, hit a screaming Mimi right to the center fielder. And that's fouled back, and it's going to be in the seats. And it was nice to see Joel Rosenwasser. First time I met him. Big Sox fan. Had on his Sox shirt and his Sox hat for the game. He's brother of Sam Rosenwasser from New York Jewelers back home in Chicago. Good friend of mine. And a good friend of a lot of Sox players. There's a chopper to Hopper. Plenty of time. 2 down. And if you're just tuning in, tough outing for Chris Sale tonight.
Yeah, it really was. He got off to a bad start. 3 runs in the first inning and 3 hits. And overall, 4 innings of work, 6 runs on 7 hits. And the streak he'd been on was unbelievable. 8+ innings of work, seemingly each and every time out.
That ball hit into left center field. And when it comes down, this ball game will be over. So we come in here. They won last night 7-6. They win tonight 8-3. But you're right. Yeah, it's just simply one thing. Chris, with those major league leading, 6 complete games, he's just tired.
Well, first of all, the last 6 outings, 6 in a row, he went 8 or more innings, which is pretty much unheard of. So maybe a little fatigue tonight. And out of Philadelphia on to Cleveland.
All right. So for my partner, the Stone Pony, Steve Stone, our Hall of Fame director Jim Angio, and our producer Keon Shahi. Keon, you did yourself proud, buddy. He is producing these 2 games for us. Also from our longtime partners, our associate producer, Joe Groove, our very fine technical manager, Mark Harper, and our executive producer, Jim Corner Jr., also Kevin McCloskey, Pete Mickelson, Joe down in the truck and the sound, and the famous, infamous Becky Solomon. This is the Hawk. So long, everybody. Coming up next, the Subaru postgame line with Chuck and Melton Bill Melton. So you've been watching White Sox baseball on Comcast Sportsnet.